Welcome to Scatterbrained, a weekly subpod of mind controllers. I'm your host, Brandon Craw, and today I'm going to be talking about what video games and media I've been enjoying this week. I'm going to be flying solo again this week because Joe is still recovering from last week, so everyone be sure to send him some well wishes. So, you just got me for the next 10 minutes or so, and I know you're all busy, so let's just go ahead and jump right into it. The game I've been playing most this past week has been Fields of Mistria. Now, for those who might not be too familiar, it's a smaller indie game. I would describe it as a cozy farming simulator game. It's pretty close to Stardew Valley, but this one has a greater emphasis on magic and relationships. So in this game, you play as your created character with a default name of Avi, I think it's Avi, who is a member of the Adventure Guild and just moved to Mistria by request of the two lords of Mistria, in order to restore the town back to its former glory before the earthquake struck and ruined parts of the town's infrastructure. Each day, you can take on various tasks, such as working on your farm, helping others out with their quests, chatting with other townspeople, and much more as you work towards improving the town's rating, called Renown. So there are many quality of life updates that have improved the game, in my opinion, such as no equipment durability that I've seen so far, or seeing where like each townsperson is on the map, which is something not every farming simulator game has. Sometimes you have to like track them down, and that could get a little frustrating at times when you're not able to find out where they are, where the townspeople are, and especially if you need to turn in a quest to them or something like that. But all in all, I'm really enjoying this game. Feels like each day there is something to do in the game, and you have your own like daily personal goals that you're trying to achieve before the day ends. So that's always been nice. I feel like I'm usually just trying to improve my farm slowly, but also take on the quests and doing some tasks for all these other townspeople to try and improve the rating with them. There's a lot of different things you can do, such as mining, fishing, chopping down trees. There's a dungeon I have yet to unlock, but I'm really curious about. I believe that I'm going to unlock that soon, so looking forward to seeing what the combat in the game looks like. There's a bunch of crafting system in the game. There's cooking, and there's a skill tree-like thing where you gain these, oh man, I forgot what they were called. They look like these little purple gems or like stars that you collect, and you could turn into this dragon statue that you also speak to. And you can level up and gain access to certain talents and perks that have to do with each of those different things that you do, such as like fishing or mining, crafting, etc. But I think with this game, the farming systems and a lot of the systems in the game are more streamlined and less cumbersome than maybe Stardew Valley. Some people might like that, some people might not. I can see how someone might like a bit more detailed and heavier, not grindier, but just like more aspects to the systems and more things to master. And this game so far hasn't really felt heavy. It feels like there's a lot of depth to it, but it's not like a heavy depth. And I'm kind of okay with that. I don't need it to be like way too life simmy, or like I said earlier, the durability on the equipment is something that has always been a pet peeve of mine in every video game. So to not have something like that has been kind of refreshing. Another thing I love about the game is like every character feels like they have their own unique personality too. The town really feels alive, and it feels pretty condensed and small. There's a lot of events where, I guess spoilers for the game, where every Friday they all get together and like hang out and drink together, and that feels like a really special part of the town. It feels like you're easily welcomed into this environment, and I really appreciate that. That was something I wanted to mention about this game, is it does a great job welcoming you into the world and feeling like you're a part of it. Always appreciate when a game is able to make you feel comfortable, make you feel like wanted, at least in the context of the game. There's like so many unique personalities, like with that, every town's member. There's one person, his name is March. He's like a blacksmith, and he kind of hates outsiders. It's kind of weird. Like you just come in into the town and you try to introduce yourself to everyone, and he's very cold and short, and he just doesn't want to talk to any outsider or anybody. And because of that, I find myself trying really hard to break his barrier. And like, I'm always going out of my way to talk to that guy way more than anybody else. I want to figure out exactly what it is that's like bothering him and like what I can do to open him up. And maybe that speaks more to my own nature than it does to the video game, but I've been really enjoying that aspect of it. Yeah, in general, this game kind of has this life to it, similar to Animal Crossing, I find. And it's really cool how the game like creates this reason for you to be a part of the world. I mentioned it earlier, but the game starts off by saying that there's this crazy earthquake. Not sure where the earthquake came from. I'm assuming that's going to be part of the story eventually, but the earthquake has like caused the town to crumble to some extent, and they had to like close down the mines, close down the dungeons, and had to seek an adventurer to help them rebuild. And the first thing you need to help rebuild is this bridge. It's fairly simple. It takes like 60 stone and 60 wood, which is something that you could just get fairly quickly, like one day of farming. Then after that, every Saturday, you have like a farmer's market equivalent of just merchants coming in and having new stuff to sell. So it's really cool how like rebuilding the town then creates these more social aspects that makes this town feel more lively. And I'm looking forward to seeing like where this game goes. And I know it's still in early access right now. Really surprised by that because the game feels so fleshed out. I'm sure whatever content update they have on the horizon's probably going to make the end game stuff or like later game stuff probably feel a bit more full, because right now it feels like there's a lot going on in the early game, but not overwhelming, just enough to like keep you constantly interested and keep you engaging with all these systems. And I'm really loving it. Definitely recommend. It was like maybe $14 on Steam. I'm not 100% sure if it's on any other console right now because it is early access. I'd imagine this could be on Switch. Like the graphics are like kind of pixely, similar to Stardew Valley, like that. It's definitely not 8-bit. It's like 16-bit, maybe 32-bit style. And it does not require like a beefy system at all to run. So I believe this is an easily accessible game. And I would say if anyone is remotely interested in these like cozy farming simulators, then you should definitely check this game out. Other than that, I'm still playing Dungeons of Hinterberg and making my way through that. Still really enjoying it. I kind of put it down just to play through Fields of Mistria, started up a bit, but I am going to be on probably 14 to 15 hours worth of flight soon, and I won't have access to Game Pass on my Steam Deck, so Fields of Mistria is going to put in some work there. Yeah, I should probably play a bit more Dungeons of Hinterberg in order to at least get through that a bit. And yeah, other than those two games, that's kind of been it for me for like the games I've played. There's some pretty big and exciting news things that were announced recently from Gamescom. I didn't realize that this was kind of turning into the fall equivalent. Well, I know it's technically not fall yet, but the fall equivalent of Summer Games Fest, of the Game Awards, with like Jeff Keighley hosting and making some big announcements. But there were some fairly like big game announcements and release date announcements that I don't think we had previously that kind of debuted here. So I know GameSpot.com had a pretty good list of all the Gamescom announcements that I went through, and I was trying to pick out some of the biggest ones or the big AAA games. Borderlands 4 was like debuted, was really cool. I'm a pretty big Borderlands fan in terms of maybe not so much the story, but definitely the systems there, of it kind of feeling like a Halo or a Diablo equivalent of a looter shooter. And yeah, I know this game is supposed to come out in 2025. They didn't have any specific date, so I'm looking forward to that, seeing what else they announced for that game and what that game ends up looking like, because it kind of looked like they might have deviated from the cel-shaded systems there, but I'm not too sure yet. It was just a pretty small announcement trailer. In addition to that, I also saw Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Once again, not really too much of a first-person shooter, like competitive first-person shooter player, but I know there's a huge audience for that, and that's going to be pretty exciting when it comes out too. I'm sure I'll try it out, especially if it's on Game Pass. Civilization 7, another fun game. That one's announced for February 11th of next year. That seems pretty soon. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm a sucker for those Civ games. I don't really play them too often, but I feel like whenever they first launch, I'm always playing them a lot, and then I kind of put it down for a bit. But I know those games kind of have a a long lasting like impact to them where you could play it for days and weeks, months even. You could pick it up again like months later down the road after it first comes out and then play another game, play around, and then it'll still feel great and enjoyable. So really looking forward to that game. And then Indiana Jones, we got a release date of December 9th. Thought this one was interesting, mostly because I'm not too hyped on it, even though I want it to do well. I just feel like everything I've seen from it so far has not really wowed me. I would really like for it to, but yeah, I guess I'm cautiously optimistic for it because I would also like Microsoft and Xbox to have like a win in the video game column here. Feels like with Starfield last year, they kind of dropped the ball a bit on that one. And I haven't really seen them fully recover from it since. They're searching for their win from a first-party game. I'm really hoping it's this, but I hope they prove me wrong. And December 9th will definitely show that. So yeah, let me know if there are any other Gamescom announcements that you were pretty excited for. I definitely missed a lot of games while we were talking about the summaries. And I think that's going to do it for this week. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for listening. I also wanted to make an announcement that we're going to be on break for about 2 weeks because I'm going to be in Africa and Europe for a while. So I'm going to be coming back September 6th or so. Then we'll have a new Mind Controllers deep dive drop on Baldur's Gate 3's Asterion. So be sure to look out for that one. And then after that, we'll figure out what time we're going to record next. But if you like the pod, be sure to rate and review our podcast, Mind Controllers, on your podcast listening app. It really helps us with that nebulous algorithm, and we greatly appreciate it. And also be sure to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Twitch. We always got stuff coming out there, a bunch of social media content. But once again, thank you guys. I really hope you take care of yourselves. I'll miss you all. Let me know if you have any recommendations for either Morocco, Portugal, or France, Paris. I'll be looking out for them. And yeah, hope you guys have a good one. Bye.